The good girls are back with some bad sex advice. I'm SJ here with my co-host Kay to give questionable advice with no credentials whatsoever, other than we've read a lot of smut.
We do feel like we are more qualified than before, thanks to Emily Nagoski and the vagina obscure and all that. So possibly some of it is not awful, but none of
I
it
also
is.
feel like our competition is other Redditors that are responding to this, and while they are hilarious, they are not any more qualified than we are to be
Yeah.
giving sex advice. So
So here we go.
let's jump in.
Original Grand 7256. Sex 6. Scared to have sex because of the way I come. Hey, so I'm a virgin with a quote unquote weird masturbation method.
I was waiting for it to be way weirder than what
Yeah, it was
she's about to
definitely
describe.
not. I pretty much only touch my clit, and because of my anatomy, I need to rub it pretty fast and hard for it to feel good. I just feel like it will be awkward because how is a guy going to sit there and aggressively rub my clit? Like, that's so unsexy in my mind. I probably won't be losing my virginity soon, so I was wondering if there's any way to train myself into being able to come in a different way. Not that I need to fix myself, I guess, just more so wanting to avoid a guy getting his wrist tired, but I also still want to have an orgasm. I've never
Aw.
seen a guy do that in porn, which I know isn't a good basis, but that's all I have for reference. If anybody has had success changing the way they orgasm, please let me know. I know that might not be possible, so if anybody has input on how to navigate that kind of communication in a relationship, that would be great too. It's so pure. Like, I hope it's a real question because there's something about it that's
Oh, I feel
so.
like it is because it's too, like, specific to be and why would you write that as a silly question? I do wanna know the age of this poster because 'cause I'm gonna guess they're pretty young and maybe don't have
Maybe
access,
teens.
maybe still live with their parents because I wanna ask, like, why don't you buy a vibrator next? Because if you just like clitoral stimulation.
Well, and if you're worried about the guy's wrist, well, you can offer him a tool
Yeah,
to
exactly.
and that will.
Since the earliest days of humanity, we have used tools to make our jobs easier and
Including a
toys.
hat and Craig vibrator. So
Exactly.
the short answer, Original Grand, is that you are by no means unique in this, and this is a more normal way to orgasm, and the more normal way to need stimulation is through the clitoris
And
and through
don't
rubbing.
read any Freud because Freud will tell you that to be a true woman, you need to have a vaginal orgasm. But as we have discussed in previous episodes, Freud was full of shit.
And definitely don't like Marie
Didn't know how to make a
Bonaparte.
woman. Yeah.
Yeah, try to move your clitoris so it's closer to the
Yeah, leave your
vagina
clitoris
so it
where
can
it
get the
is.
penis.
Don't take sex advice from men who have probably never actually made a woman come before. We don't have any outside verification that Freud was good at giving orgasm, so I'm going to assume bad based on his writing and his general attitude. And maybe experiment a little bit with yourself before you get out there with guys and not just your hand, but
Well, and girl on top during sex might be a good position for you if that is like your specific thing. Because girl on top, and especially if you are starting off with these feelings of guilt that you don't want to make somebody work too hard, which is a whole separate thing to unlayer.
word.
But girl on top, you can be the one to put that work in and to get that friction.
Also, I want this poster to try oral sex before she feels like,
But she can't try oral sex on herself, though.
no, I know. I'm just saying she's watching porn and she's not seeing anybody doing anything like what she's doing, but there's a second person or third or fourth person involved in porn. So I wouldn't be too worried about what things you would and would not like about sex when you can't really duplicate most of them very accurately at home by yourself.
Yeah, maybe
I mean, you
some
could have
good
orgasms, but
romance books too, like not Bridgerton, because in Bridgerton she'll be like, "Oh no, there
never
is
Bridgerton.
something wrong with me. Like it just needs to be through the vagina." But not
It's like
Jessica
some
Kane will probably freak you out, so let's not do Jessica Kane. But most
we
of it
need a
will
middle
have
ground. We need a
this.
middle
Yeah.
ground of smut.
You
Well,
know what?
this is
Penny
why
Reed. Penny Reed will be
I
good for you. Penny Reed, the player and the pixie, would be extremely helpful for you, Original Grand.
I do agree that, reading smut or romance written by women is a better way to learn about the different ways that I mean, and not all of it's realistic either, but this is written through, a female perspective, or a lot of the ones that we like to read are. So I feel
They
like
all reference the button.
That's gonna give you some ideas, and then you're also imagining it in your head, which I feel like is more helpful for her kind of picturing and putting herself eventually in that place than it is, like, watching a, very staged porn experience with, yeah, not maybe the anatomies that you're actually going to have involved in the eventual things that you do.
Yes. Okay. Well, absolutely. I would call that wonderful sex advice. Again, you are doing just fine and you are experiencing what the majority of women experience. You are not the outlier.
I would enter it more with thinking, "What he do for you?"
Yeah.
Brown do for you, uh, rather than, what you need to do. Did you need to perform in
Yeah.
any
You don't need
that
to
you need to
change. Yeah.
perform your orgasm in
No
any
guy
particular
sitting
way.
there like, oh no, to orgasm, I must like jack myself in this direction. I could never make a woman do that for me. Oh, her wrist.
I know,
Yeah.
right, no man
Choke
has
on
ever
it. Yeah. I want to feel like you don't have air anymore.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
I want to read Breakakims because it actually really made me think that I didn't fully address some things when it was my turn to be the scientist in our last episode on
Ooh,
Shattering to a Million Pieces.
so bad sex advice and a little bit of science from Dr. K.
Yes. How do I know if I had an orgasm? I am female. This goes for both masturbation and sex. All of a sudden, I just feel done, like I can't keep going because I have been satisfied and my clit gets too sensitive. But I don't make any sounds. I hardly even moan, even when doing the act. No legs shaking, no female ejaculation, nothing. IDK. I don't know what information is going to be helpful. When I masturbate, I only touch my clit. Sex is mostly PIV, but last time we did anal and he touched my clit too and I got really close. Also, we sexted once, and when I was done, my whole body was vibrating. No idea if I orgasmed, though. What does it feel like? This one's kind of confusing because there's like a few different
Things
pieces
going
of
on,
it.
yeah.
I think that she is making herself orgasm when she's by herself. I doubt that her partner is making her orgasm. From everything that I've seen, a woman can orgasm without having, the contractions, the legs shaking, anything like that.
Yeah, the
That is
moaning. I feel like there's probably again, that's something that you get an idea from porn that all women are like,
I'm gonna
eh,
shatter to a million
daddy,
pieces.
yes.
Yeah.
And I don't know. And then on top of that, I mean, I think that there are women who are very loud and vocal. Like, obviously, we got the idea from somewhere. And then I think that there are men who like women to be very vocal and they encourage that kind
It's
of
giving
behavior. And so
feedback.
it's like yeah, and it's giving feedback. It's a way to give positive reinforcement. And so it's also, it kind of reminds me of how like they discovered that cats don't meow around other cats. Like it's only house cats meow. And it's like a way that they've learned to communicate. And I a little bit feel like that with some of the moaning is it's like you're doing it a little bit as a feedback thing for your partner because that's a way without having to be like, I exactly like what like you don't have to come up with
You're
words. You can
right.
just be positive.
I've never even thought about it, but of course I don't moan when I'm masturbating.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or, like, if I mean, there probably are people that do, like, I think that there is a spectrum of how vocal people are, but I think that there are people who are moaning a lot all the time and can't stop themselves, and then there are people who never would under any circumstances, whether it's because it makes them feel uncomfortable or that's not how they express themselves, and then I think there are a lot of people in the middle that it's, like, situational and or if you have a partner that likes it.
And Emily Nagoski, come as you are, notes that contractions, shakes don't happen to everyone. An orgasm is a release of sexual tension, which is what she is reporting when she does it herself.
Mhm.
I just wonder, like, what she described with sexting and with having sex that is pretty much like strictly penetration. She didn't describe enough for me to know if she is having an orgasm there.
Yeah, and especially because it seems like she knows that she's getting close to something that she is experiencing as an orgasm, but is questioning because the place where she says that there was the time that they were doing it in a different position and then he was able to or they were doing anal and he was able to like reach around and touch her clit and then she said I got close. Probably he finished before she did and then
And then it just
yeah,
stopped. Yeah, her lover probably needs some guidance.
probably.
So, really interesting, which is that
Her
there is
lover needs to read some Jessica Kane.
yeah. Oh, that would help him. So there was a study done by Nicole Prause, who might be the most interesting researcher ever. So she used pressure sensitive gouges to detect your orgasm contractions and small sample size, like sample size of 23. Half of the women, so she says her interpretation is that half of the women said that they had an orgasm and were orgasming, where per the contraction meter or whatever, they were
Mhm.
not having an orgasm. But again, I think and it ended up not being published from what I could see yet. And part of me wonders if it's like that Emily Nagoski piece, which is that like the 50% who like quote unquote weren't having an orgasm but said that they were having an
Mhm.
orgasm, they might not just be in the group that experiences contractions. Like, I
Yeah,
don't
or not as strongly, and so she was waiting for them to get to something stronger. Um, Also, it's like if you're satisfied with it at the end of the day, I feel like with women there is a little bit more of like it's hard. There's like an upward until you like hit the plateau or the pinnacle as they call it in Bridgerton. But there seemed like there was much more variability for women in exactly how you hit that, how long you stay there, and what you're perceiving as the top. So I would also believe that some women are like, "Oh, I'm like all the way up." And there is, like, technically maybe further to go, but they kind of, like, already hit that place, and if you're sexually satisfied by it, then I also would wonder, is there anything wrong with feeling like you've hit it?
and that is what Nicole Prause said when she was interviewed about this, to
Mhm.
Fatherly, which is obviously like a men's
Which is
space
"Call me
magazine.
daddy?" Oh, okay, sorry.
So she said, "But please don't bring the science into the bedroom. If your wife or partner feels like she is having a good time and feels like she's orgasming, please do not say, like, actually, 50% of women think that they're having an
Yeah.
orgasm, but they aren't. Like, if you feel great and you feel the release of tension, then, like, don't don't
But
get
I do feel
questioning."
like that would be a male partner thing to be like, "Did you know that 50% of women aren't actually having an orgasm, and I'm gonna be the first man to take you all
Yeah.
the way
I wanna
to
feel the
O-Town?"
contractions. I wanna see you squirt, like, all those things.
Yeah, exactly, and, like, the first poster, like, I think there's just a lot of women feeling like their orgasm is deficient because it's not looking like a certain thing that they've seen in porn, or, yeah, they're not having the feeling of shattering into a million pieces because they're reading these very flourishy romance kind of books where the women are having just, like, the most spectacular orgasms of their lives, and um, yeah, they you may not just not, like, exist on that level of sexual pleasure like all of the romance novel heroines.
And that's also something that Nicole Prause mentioned, which is that women tend to have more orgasms the older that they get, and they suspect it has something to do with how assertive you are, your increased awareness of your body. You're more likely to do it the longer you've been with a partner. And I just feel like all those pieces are like, I wish that there was some way to explain to younger women who think that there's anything wrong with them. Like, I don't, it's not even like wrong with their partner. It's just
Yeah.
like you're also an equal
Like,
player.
I'm
It's not
picturing if it's
them.
a mountain that for a lot of women, it's, like, forested without any paths, so you have to, like, find different ways up, but there's, like, different routes that you can take, and there's a lot to understand, whereas men, there's just, like, a little chairlift right up to the top of the mountain, and then it's like, "Shoop, you're up there."
Just a cross
And they
line.
know, it's like,
Yeah.
"Alright, you like, splooge, you've come," and I just feel like a lot of times, at least in conversations with people, it seems like it's a lot simpler for men, and so it would be harder for them to understand for women that it's more complex or, like, the where you're exactly is the destination point that you're reaching can kind of change over time too. And again, totally non-scientific, but it sounds like the scientists are kind of agreeing with us. So let's try "I had sex with my boyfriend and it was lackluster" from Significant Emu, 781. All right, so she is I am female, mid-30s, have been dating a guy, also mid-30s, for a couple months now. But since it's long distance, we have only met twice. I did not want to have sex on the first meetup, but I saw enough desire for him that it got me all excited for the next time. This time, when we met up, it got all hot and heavy multiple times on night one, but since we were both exhausted from travel, we didn't get into it. I like this is, you can tell they're in their 30s. They're approaching this with some maturity and
Yeah, I was gonna
thoughtfulness.
say, I'm like, "Huh?" Like, if you're both horny.
And restraint, because it's
Yeah.
like you have a limited amount of time together. You might want to consider diving in. Okay, so day two, we went out, dinner and drinks. We were both feeling it. Albeit we were a little drunk. We start to have sex, and it was not pleasurable at all. Size was definitely an issue. He isn't big enough. He is average, I would say, or maybe a little less than average. And the girth is also less than average. I will happily take it because he aces in a lot of areas of the relationship. But I also want to make sex more pleasurable for both of us. I wonder how much of it was alcohol related. The next night, we got to other bases, but didn't get to sex, to all other bases. I gave him a hand job good enough that he came, but he also comes weird. Like, I have had sex before, and I can tell when a man is ready to come. Him, I couldn't. He just said, I'm coming, and rushed to the bathroom. I was
Very
like, okay, maybe he will help me next. But nope, he went to bed. How can I make this more enjoyable for both of us if we continue dating?
He sounds like a great friend. He aces in all the other areas. It's like, okay, well, like, what's, like, the one
Be-
major distinctive thing about a romantic relationship?
yeah, and you don't live in the same place. So,
Yeah, long distance as well. Like, keep him as a
long
pen
distance is the
man.
wrong distance. Deal breaker.
Yeah, I don't it's not it feels like she was able to work with the size issue, and that's really commendable of her, and that's great, but the fact that, like, she gave him a hand job, then he left to go come, and then he didn't finish her, it's
That's
like
my bigger issue because size, I think there's different positions that you can try. I think I have heard that doggy style is supposed to work better for a guy who's smaller. And I'm cross checking for my references here Men's Health, which is the leading research journal about sex positions. So we got doggy style. Then we got the face off position where he's sitting on the side of the bed and she's kind of like straddling around him. So you got options. And I would never want that to slow you down, especially since for most women, that's not where your enjoyment is coming from. So he should be doing other things. My problem is that he's just like, and then goes to the bathroom and falls asleep. That's my
yeah,
bigger problem.
and they weren't, first night after a long distance, I don't know, I
However, talk it
question
out
it.
before you walk it out. I would try like a once or twice more because it also is one of those like it's your first time with him. And so try communication first because I'm also like did you talk to him at all? Like did you say anything to him the next day that was like, "Oh, hey, that was disappointing."
Yeah, and, like, how you like to orgasm or, like, what you want in particular. So this is just a fun
Or he should just come back from the bathroom and she's like got her vibrator out and she's finishing herself and then if he
just
can't
sitting
take
there at the
that hint.
OBGYN appointment. Yeah, I am so ready for you. So I wanted to share this study that Nicole Prause, who's clearly awesome, did in 2015 in Archives of Sexual Behavior. Okay, it used 3D models and worked with women to try to find their preferred penis size, length, and
Oh,
girth.
I've read a lot of romantasy, so I think it's that you can't get both of your
It's
hands around
basically the
it.
size of a tree trunk, but in reality,
It defies
so
the laws of physics as to how it fits in the human vagina.
yes, that's what we all want. So for a one time, like for a one night stand, we prefer about 6.4 inches in length and a 5-inch circumference. But for a long term, we go down like a smidge to a 6.3-inch length and a 4.8-inch circumference. So, anyways, still
Interesting.
maybe, I don't know, like a 5-inch circumference. I think I'm gonna need
That
I
seems girthy
that seems like really
relative to
girthy.
the
I mean, that's like
length.
almost half a ruler.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I maybe we need to see what these
That does make sense
3D.
that women would prefer girth over length, though, like, realistically. I mean, I'm not saying extremes on either end because you also don't want, like, a chode, but I'm just saying a longer, thinner penis to me just seems like you're just getting scraping of your
Yeah,
cervix.
I didn't think too hard about what a 5-inch circumference would look like when I read that, and now that I'm stuck here, I'm like, "What on earth?" 5 inches is a lot of inches, and they were using 3D models.
So, luckily, I've got a tape measure, so I'm gonna measure around the part of my arm here that's 5 that's 8 inches. Okay, I think what I was
Okay.
picturing was more like 8 inches. I am clearly very bad at,
Oh, okay, so it's pretty huh.
oh, like, my wrist is 6 inches. I mean, I have kind of bigger wrists, but, like,
Wait, but isn't there circumference?
circumference is around the outside. You're thinking of diameter. If the diameter was 5 inches, that would be tree trunk.
Oh, I was indeed thinking about the diameter, and I was like, "Holy fuck, like,
On
what are
the next
we"
episode, the good girls learn basic
Yeah.
geometry.
How to measure a circle.
No,
Well, we
I'm
learned
looking at 5. Okay, no, 5 inches is oh, see, look here, I'm making a little 5-inch loop. That's actually
That's actually
Small.
kinda small. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
That's,
I would
normal.
say, yeah,
It's like
okay.
a Goldilocks and a Three Bears situation.
Yeah, I would not say that that is, like, above average is, like, what women are looking for, according to this research.
Can we see 6 inches up again?
Go, let's do a 6-inch measurement, yeah. My wrist is a bad comp because it's not like your wrists are round your wrists are, like, flattened and not
Oh, no, not for the circumference, for the length.
oh, 6 inches for length.
Oh, yeah.
That's yeah, that
That's
seems
about a
normal.
penis.
That's a
Okay.
penis, that's 1 penis length.
Yeah, so we're not after anything crazy, is what we just learned there.
When we do our print magazine edition, it'll have a centerfold with little punch-out rulers, for, like, measuring penis length and circumference against the average,
And we'll just
just
bring
for
it
good
out in the
girls reference
bedroom.
tools. Yep.
Yeah,
Thank you
great.
for that groundbreaking research.
Okay. So, next up, business pair 8641. How can I fuck her harder? This is categorized as skill improvement. I was
I
having
love a man who wants to improve his skills.
I really did like it. I would be so happy if I saw that Mr. K was posting on Reddit just
How do you
trying
know
to
Mr. K isn't
maximize.
business pair 8641? That sounds he likes
Yeah,
business.
he just changed around girlfriend with wife to throw me off.
Yeah.
I was having hot past with my
Also,
girlfriend.
do you do hot past with Mr. K?
I do not do a hot past. I sometimes will share past experiences, but we don't do it
It's not
as
what's,
like
getting him
it's not
off.
foreplay. It's more like an offhand funny
It's not a
comment.
fetish. Okay.
Um,
So, also some slight variation here, not Mr. K's kink
Not
or
Mr.
yours.
K's kink. And only experiences that I think that Mr. K would laugh at or find funny. It's not like, wow, I had really great sex
Hmm.
with this person. I was having hot pass with my girlfriend. We really enjoyed it, especially me. We ended up talking about an experience of her with a really big guy who was doing it in a very aggressive and forceful way. At that moment, I asked her, just to provoke me further, if he was going harder than me, and she said yes, and that he was going much harder and much deeper. Obviously, that night was great for us, but this part really got to me. I want to know how to have sex with her more intensely in the same way she remembers it with her former partner. How can I fuck her even harder? In this case, considering what made him go harder wasn't his bigger size or their position, wouldn't exercise be the best option? Edit, hot pass is a fetish that uses past experiences as a form of provocation. We both enjoyed it a lot for quite some time. I don't,
I do feel like this is the double-edged sword of getting into doing something like that, is that you are going to hear about all of her previous best experiences, and you're also going to hear them in the like, if you're doing it to get somebody hot, you're gonna be focusing more like, you are talking to Mr. K and you're focusing more on, "Oh, this thing was funny, this was awkward," to just, like, have a nice bonding moment, but I feel like if you're doing it as a turn on kind of thing, then you're like, "Oh, yeah, it was just so fucking hot, like, the best thing of my life." So she's also describing something in the best light possible.
yeah, but if we were to just to look at the advice of how do you go much harder and much deeper, if that's what you seek to be, when you already were trying to go hard and to go deep, maybe this is a wrong one for us to choose. I don't really know. I would say that part of it is, like, I don't wanna say my suggestion wouldn't necessarily be, like, BDSM, but it would be, like, scene setting where you, like, for that time, adopt a role that is not your normal role with
Mm.
that person. So for that time, like, you put yourself in the role of, like, I am the more dominant person, and I am going to, like, totally rail this person even though clearly, if he's trying to give his girlfriend this, like, great time, he is not someone who's like, "Yeah, my way or the highway," but, like, you put yourself into that temporary role.
Yeah, I feel like that could be a good confidence booster.
Daddy. You
I
are the daddy
Yeah,
now.
be the
Yeah.
daddy. Come on, you little bitch, be the daddy. I do feel like if he's suggesting exercise, I mean, as we learned from reading Evie magazine, it is a great way to boost your feeling of sexiness and be sexier and just be healthier. So if at the end of the day he does do things, which I think that you can, I mean, I don't know this person, so I don't know what we're working with as far as his baseline of like his core strength, his cardio, because how are you gonna go hard if you're, like, out of breath just doing, like, regular missionary style thrusting? You can't do all the fun different positions. You can't have a sex swing.
So exercise will help in all ways in sex, and I
And then
fully
boost his
believe
confidence
that,
and make
and
him feel like
boost.
a daddy.
But I think that also, like, accepting for a little bit that during sex, you're going to take on this role of, like, "I'm in charge here," would help with the fucking harder, but maybe he needs to also ask his partner for some more direction. Like, was it strictly just that physically he was going harder and deeper, or was there, like, a whole vibe to the situation?
Yeah. I would also invite them to try some deep breathing exercises together because I have heard that for men, they actually have overly tightened pelvic floors and that in general, they're just like doing a lot of like muscular, trying to build muscle, trying to have the strongest muscles. So there is possibility of like going too far doing the exercise thing because just being a guy who has a ton of muscles isn't necessarily going to make you a better lover. And so I think a lot of the things that are recommended for men are more like deep breathing to try to relax the pelvic floor a little bit. You can last longer. And I just feel like maybe that's something that they need to kind of do together that would be going harder in a different way than this, like instead of recreating the memory of this imaginary guy who's been like kind of built up as part of her past. Um, that it could be more like you go deeper in a different way, like spiritually,
Yeah,
and then you last longer.
spiritually.
Just throwing things out there. Also, I did look up so I went over to the hotpast subreddit because I was like, I need to understand more about this. And then there are a bunch of there are 51 questions because I heard people mentioning that they're like, I did the 51 questions with my partner. So there's a whole list of questions that you do with your partner as part of your hotpast
I don't think my
questionnaire. I mean, if
past
you like being interviewed, this seems sexy if you like interviews.
I don't think that either mine nor Mr. K's past is hot enough to get turned on from our hot past.
I don't think my past is hot enough to answer yes to any of these
Well,
questions.
that's part of being a virgin bride or a
No,
young
yeah, it
bride.
was yes, exactly. Um, but I mean, have you ever been paid for sex?
No.
That's what I'm saying. I've done some of these. Okay. Okay. So there are just
The only
in the
question you're
beginning,
gonna choose
there's a
from
lot
that
of
is have you been paid from
well,
sex?
I'm just saying that was the most like, okay, like, but I mean, have you ever been with a woman? I'm guessing this is asking a woman. Have gotten a facial? Did you go through a slut phase? I don't know. Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying I would say no to all of these, but
Oh, I'm so open with
different kinds of threesomes. We know you.
um,
Have you ever been completely dominated? Have you ever had the opportunity to do it with a black guy? That's like sort of assuming that everybody
who's taking this as
is white.
white.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. Oh, and then also question 37 is have you ever done it with a Latino? I have to feel like this is
Okay,
very
so
white.
this is a
Yeah.
very white 51 questions.
Yes. But an important question for one of the previous posters, have you ever been so loud that other people heard you? And have you ever come from penetration alone? That's only 25% of women.
Yeah, that's what as we know now, a pretty tricky question because it might have been penetration alone. You might have been in such a position that your complex was being stimulated.
And that is when you pause your hot pass session to pull out your 3D model of the clitoris and drop a little bit of knowledge on your sexual partner. And that's how I make things really hot
Yeah,
as a virgin bride who
this is
also
where I
likes
am right now on my
science.
orgasm trajectory.
This is the part of my clitoris you were most recently stimulating. Okay. Here's one that I added to the list. Okay. My wife, 44 female, does not enjoy receiving oral. I, 44 man, absolutely love going down. Been married for 20 years and it's getting worse. She does not enjoy receiving and does not let me do it as much as I would like, which would be like 3 to 4 times a week. She gives no feedback on how to make it better for her. Ding her points for that one. Admittedly, she says she only prefers penetration, but I really like to give oral. Like, really, really like to do it. Look at my username here, for goodness sake, which is will eat you for hours.
How does he know that he likes it if he's been married for 20 years to a person who does not like receiving it? Like, wouldn't the whole joy come from the other person's joy? That would be like me saying, like, I love giving head for the last 20 years, but like my
And the other
partner has
person's just
never
sitting
entered.
there. Yes, because he says, "We are in love, but it's becoming a problem for me. I've asked for a side gal who enjoys receiving oral because I want someone who doesn't lay there like they're watching paint dry. Do you think it's possible to have an arrangement like this where I have a side gal for giving oral to and still have a loving relationship with my life?" By the way, no real answer from the wife on the side gal request.
Ah, why do I this might be fake, who knows, but I also feel
No, I think he
like
made a throwaway,
account.
account for asking this question.
I think that he needs to try some different strategies because if he was actually doing it right and well, then there's no way that she would just be sitting there not enjoying it unless she strictly does like have
Not
no
true. There
sensation.
are women who just don't enjoy receiving oral. I was
And
talking to somebody who said that, and she is like definitely somebody who has been with different partners, like many different partners. It's not just that she's like with somebody who's bad at giving it. And she was like, unequivocally, like, I've tried it different ways. I've tried it. She's like, it's just
it just doesn't
something
even
for me.
require that much skill. It's like as long as you're there, it's like, yep, this is great. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think it more requires tenacity than skill. I mean, obviously, skill is appreciated, but I think that tenacity is required more than skill. And I think that there are just women who aren't into it, especially because, like, she's not giving you advice on how to do it better, and it's been 20 something years.
Hmm. Yeah.
But unfortunately, I think that the answer as to whether you can have a side girl is entirely up to your wife, and if your wife wants to open up the relationship, then good for you. You found the solution. If your wife does not want to open up the relationship, then you have a difficult decision to make because you can't
Imagine
have a
being the
side
side
gal.
girl who is just there to receive oral from a man.
I mean, maybe she's in a relationship. I feel like there are many more relationships where she wants to receive oral and her man is like, ugh.
Yeah, maybe they could find some
So I think that,
polycule.
yeah, you have to just like set up some kind of polycule action where he just like dips out to give oral to the other woman and then they both go back for their day to day and life partnership with their other people and everyone's happy.
Hmm. This is an odd situation. So the only situations that I've found where a person does not like receiving oral were more that like she had a fear of like farting or being smelly down there or something like
Yeah.
that. So like making her husband go down there was just not something that she could ever relax enough. But in this case, it's like clearly her partner is communicating that this is something that he wants to do.
And would not be bothered. And when you've been married to somebody for what they say 20 years, I feel like
Yeah.
at that point she would not be the it would not be the thing stopping her is that she's afraid that she'd fart. And no, but I'm telling you, the friend that I was talking to, and we were talking to another friend at the time who felt pretty similarly, and both of them, it's not like they're just with somebody who sucks, and they're not like very squeamish conservative people. So I do just feel like there are women out there, and again, like I think sometimes you don't want to talk about it anything for women that is considered like, oh, women are supposed to like these certain things. And sometimes women don't talk about it like a lot.
Hmm.
But the big thing is also that I am not loving this guy is because he's so obsessed with giving oral. But it's like, if your wife doesn't want it, then like you were saying, like, why do you want to do it that bad?
It's all about the other person's satisfaction. I would guess I'm just like thinking about this because I'm thinking about like, well, it always feels good, but you need to be turned on for it to feel good because you need to be, the little hood needs to be opened and everything. You
Like,
need your
maybe
little
she
clit
also just doesn't
boner.
feel safe around him. But he's also not saying what is working for her because if it was just that he's like, oh, she really likes like hand stuff, then I'd be like, "Well, then you're good at that, obviously, and she likes it. I don't see the problem." But he's also not saying what she does like. So they also maybe need to like talk to somebody together to have a better understanding of like the wonderland that is her body and how he can navigate it.
Yeah, there's more needed here than just finding another person.
Well, good luck to will eat you for hours. I hope he finds somebody that will he can eat for hours. All right, so last one from Mike D. Die. I, 25 male, think about other women in bed with my girlfriend, 23 female. It sounds bad even in my own head. That's what I really need advice on. This is my first long term relationship, and we have been together for almost a year. I do find my girlfriend attractive, and we work together very well. We even live together until September. sounds like they're like in college or something. They're together over the summer. Sometimes when we are in bed, someone from my past who I used to fool around pops in my head, and I even purposefully think of her to come quicker occasionally. I'm worried that it is already a sign to worry about for the long term, and how could I be the man she deserves in life and in bed? What would you guys do? Slash, have you done in your own relationships if you have faced a similar thing?
You are not in love with this girl. You are in love with your person from the past.
Yeah.
Like 100% think that. There's no way. How weird would you feel if you knew that your partner was thinking about somebody else to like quicken how fast they come?
Yeah, exactly. That it's like, oh, I have to like move this experience along by thinking. I mean, yeah, I think it's like one thing if like occasionally other thoughts pop into you, like you have some intrusive thoughts about like other types of things that pop up from time to time. But if that's consistently popping up in your head, and but especially the part about using her to come more quickly. And I would also ask OP, who do you think about when you masturbate?
Yeah, that would be part of
Who's
it.
in your
But if
spank
there's
bank?
this other person, like you should go and make your big declaration of love to her. Like,
Yeah,
how beautiful.
I would watch that movie.
Yeah, I would watch it of you getting with the other person, but I would not want to watch someone of you staying with this girl
Yeah,
who's
because also
not it for
do her
you.
a favor because if she's
She
not it for
deserves to
you,
be
then
that
she deserves
person.
to be with somebody who will think about her all the time, even when he's by himself.
At the very least, when he's having sex with her, will only think about her and not have to use somebody else to hasten him coming.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Mr. K does sometimes use like an elderly neighbor that we have when he wants to delay his coming.
That
Yeah.
the
This
fact that
feels
you continued
excused.
that sentence was really important because that could have gone in some
Yes, it's
dark
more
places for
like
your
if he
neighbor.
needs to last for a few more minutes. Yeah. And he's like, oh, I'm going to think about this situation that is very non sexy.
Oh,
Yeah.
and it's the neighbor. So
Well,
do
she's
you
no longer our neighbor, if that makes
Okay,
you.
well, a little bit just because then I feel like it's a little bit awkward when you walk by the neighbor and you're like
Thankfully, he said that and the neighbor over like the last year has been totally MIA, which has been nice.
Yeah. But that's shows the kind of relationship that you have that he shared that with you.
Yes. So, to wrap up things from other episodes and a quick book review, as always, one is that I feel like I didn't address in my orgasm episode, the last one, how complicated it was to decipher when it is an orgasm for women, and that it really, whenever you feel good and feel complete,
That's an
yeah,
orgasm.
if you feel like you have reached completion, then please, I hope nothing in the episode made anybody overthink anything. And then I also have to say, that Edith Bird, because I killed him. They are two South African sisters. This is their debut novel, and it has been rapidly taking off. And highly recommend. It is a dystopian world with like this really, really beautiful romantic story, and the main character just stays so strong in her beliefs and her morals and values. She never compromises them, even for a partner. And I highly recommend for both you and your child. Because it's a young adult style romance, like, there's nothing there that's super inappropriate for kids. Not and by kids, I mean more
Young
yeah,
adult readers,
adolescents to
yeah.
teenagers. It's
Yeah.
probably a little too much for, like, a 10-year-old.
Meanwhile, I finished reading with my book club. Usually my book club reading does not cross over into my good girls reading. But if anyone has read Dream Count by it's the new one from Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie, which I feel like is such an amazing author. And so I was really expecting a lot from this book. And she's like, oh, it's like my most adult book yet. And I mean, by adult, she means like mature, not like smutty. Although I would have loved some smut in this book. It's so mature that I felt like I was too immature for it. It's like these sort of meandering storylines of 4 different women that all kind of stand as little standalone novellas other than the fact that they're all present and intersecting with each other's stories. But of particular interest to this podcast was the one character Zecora, who is was a short story that was published before this, and she's like a banker and makes a lot of money in Nigeria, and then decides, like with her fame and fortune, that she's going to come to the U.S. and be a graduate student and study pornography, because she hates porn and she thinks it's violent, and she writes this advice column for men, and it's like the worst, meanest thing that she's like, "Men, I am on your side." But really she sounds like she hates men, and the whole book hates men. So I was just like really disappointed by I was like, "Oh, sweet, there's, like, this character who leaves her job to, like, go kind of, like, become a sex columnist and study porn," but she basically studies porn because she hates it so much, and
Sex negative.
she's like,
Yeah.
"Oh, people shouldn't be learning through porn," but it's not like she becomes, like a trained sex educator to, like, educate people in a different way. She just writes this column where she complains
To
about
shame
how much men
people.
suck. Yeah,
Yeah.
and shames people a ton, and I feel like the characters in this book were, like, pretty sex negative, even though they were kind of, like, portrayed as being very grown up and beyond some of the more conservative upbringing that they'd had, but it seemed like deep down they had not really lost their shame, which was maybe Chimamanda's point, but I don't know. It was a hard read.
Probably not for me.
We won't be bringing
Yes.
Zikora on the Good Girls podcast to give advice to men anytime soon. I felt like she needed to have a few drinks and chill the fuck out.
Yeah, we would only be bringing her to have drinks and chill out with us.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, great talking with you as always, SJ. Have a great week, everybody. Thank you for listening.